So Season 12 of Diablo 4 has quite a lot of pretty ridiculous experience farms, especially when it comes to the endgame. So in this video, I want to go over probably the most ridiculous endgame experience farm of this season that can be done by pretty much any build in the game, because it's even incredibly strong if you're doing it in, say, Torment 1. Now, the first thing you have to understand is bloodied activity keys. You may have seen these dropping even early game, where you'll get bloodied versions of Nightmare Dungeon sigils, of Infernal Horde keys, and even of boss layer keys. Now, at a baseline, these bloodied sigils are just much more difficult versions of that content that drops a lot more bloodied items. And going a little bit more specific, they're supposed to be like the difficulty of one Torment tier higher. So if you're in Torment tier 1, it should be as difficult as like Torment tier 2, but it's actually more difficult than that. And more specifically, every single one of these bloodied activity keys will have a constant onslaught of butchers spawning to kill you, and these butchers is what makes it quite a bit more difficult than just that one Torment tier higher, because these butchers that are chasing you around are quite tanky and they do a lot of damage. So the butchers are definitely more difficult than the next Torment tier up, and that's one of the main parts about the farm we're going over in this video, which is going to be in the bloodied Infernal Hordes. Now, when it comes to choosing the difficulty you're going to want to be doing this farm on right now, you're going to want to choose something that you can very easily kill all of the enemies in these Infernal Horde runs, and so you can kill the butchers that are constantly spawning decently quickly. That's going to be the best for experience. So if you're, say, in Torment tier 3 and you go and do one of these and everything's taking too long to kill and you can't kill the bloodied butchers decently quickly, you're going to want to drop it down Torment tiers until you could kill everything pretty quickly, because the amount of experience is just worth it. And there's two really big things as to why these Infernal Horde runs are so incredibly strong for experience. First off is your kill streaks. When you're in one wave of Infernal Hordes, it's pretty much impossible for your kill streak to fall off unless you just stop damaging things. So everything you kill in every single wave of the Infernal Hordes will just build you up a kill streak, which will give you quite a lot of additional experience. And depending on how fast you can kill everything will determine how much you can actually get that kill streak up to. So that'll be a lot of additional experience over the normal experience you get in an Infernal Horde. But then these butchers that are constantly spawning are going to be Infernal Butchers, but they give a ridiculous amount of experience for every single one of these butcher kills. Now, they are on a cooldown, so you can only get a certain amount per wave. For the entirety of the wave, they'll keep spawning, and the amount of experience they give is absurd. When comparing to the equivalent Torment tier, you're getting like more experience than a layer boss would be giving you this season. So you're getting the constant kill streaks for the entirety of that wave. You're getting all of the experience of the enemies you're defeating in that wave, which was already pretty decent for most seasons. But then you're getting the absurd amount of butcher experience on top of all of that. And just to give you an example, with the footage you're seeing in this video, I was on a character in Torment tier 1. I did a full 10 wave run. I only had the experience boost from incense and from my elixir, and I was able to get around 8 or 9 Paragon levels. And I started at, I think, 210 Paragon. That's not like a super low Paragon, but it's also not incredibly high. But keep in mind, that is on Torment tier 1 with one of these bloodied keys. You could only imagine how going up to Torment 4 and using one of these, if you had a strong enough build, could be giving you. The amount of experience would be exponentially higher, but there's also additional ways to get more experience. You have your Forgotten Wisdom Nightmare Dungeons, which in this footage, I didn't have that. So that's another 15% of bonus experience. And then you also have the bloodied items for this season, and more specifically, your jewelry. So you can get jewelry that give you bonus experience depending on your kill streak kill on all 3 of your jewelry pieces. And not only can you get that on all 3 of your jewelry pieces, which I think are 15% at baseline in the end game, but those go up on masterworking, and that is an affix, so you can get an ancestral bloodied item, and the greater affix roll can be on the bloodied affix, so that experience roll can get the greater affix, but on top of that, your masterworking greater affix, so the final upgrade, can also hit that affix. So you could potentially be getting upwards of 30% bonus experience per jewelry piece. I think it actually goes higher than that on all 3 of your jewelry pieces. So every single wave that you're getting these decently high kill streak bonuses, you could just be getting like 90+% bonus experience on every single one of those waves, which will just massively increase your experience even more. So I definitely recommend to keep an eye out for decently rolled rings, either of the unique rings you use or legendary rings with the bonus experience, and try to get those upgraded. Now these are things that may take a little bit longer because getting Obdicite this season is actually pretty grindy, and to re-roll the final upgrade of the Masterwork is 200, which is actually a lot this season. So trying to get those greater affix rolls on the bonus experience and then also get your Masterwork roll on it is going to take some time, but that amount of bonus experience is definitely going to be worth it, adding on top of this already ridiculous experience farm. Now you will need Infernal Horde keys to get these, but once you've put in your seasonal cinders, you'll start to get more of these. And I think the best way to grind these out is to just go into Helltide and to get as big of kill streaks as you possibly can. Because as you're getting a higher and higher kill streak, the things you're killing will just start to drop a ridiculous amount of bloody keys on top of that. You may have already noticed that if you're in Helltides and you're getting like 1,000+ kill streaks, you'll notice that there will just be keys dropping absolutely everywhere. That seems to absolutely be the best place to go farm in, especially if you have a group, or especially if there's a bunch of people there that can just keep resummoning the Blood Maiden, or even if there's just a bunch of people at the Butcher Shrine constantly respawning that. The amount of keys you'll start to get at those higher kill streaks is pretty ridiculous. So once you run out, just go farm Helltides for a while. You should be able to stock up on keys pretty easily. So if you're trying to grind out experience into the end game, I would definitely recommend doing this. And also you will get quite a lot of good loot at the end because it's still an Infernal Horde run. If you spend the cinders to do the more difficult boss at the end, he will also drop a lot. And since you're doing the bloodied versions of these keys, you will get a lot more bloodied items. So you'll probably be getting a good amount of loot. You'll be getting a good amount of gear and probably a good amount of materials, especially when you get those pretty good runs in the 10 wave versions of this. So you'll be getting a good amount of loot, but the amount of experience here I think is unmatched this season. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.
Devastation!